Hello, my starlings, and welcome to another episode of A Witch's Perspective. That's right, you're getting a witch's perspective, which would be mine. Hi, I'm Vi, the Abysmal Witch, and I am a witch. I've been practicing for a very ridiculously long time, but this is just my perspective. It is one perspective, not representative of all Wiccans, witches, pagans, etc. There's just... put 5 of us in a room, have 18 opinions, situations like that. So welcome to my commute. Welcome to the channel. I hope that you enjoy to some degree the insanity babble that does like to pour out of me as if an endless fountain of babble exists within me and is waiting only to be tapped by moments like this. Well, and this moment, what are we diving into today, folks? Well, today we are going to talk about perfection. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm going to babble on about perfection for a while, and we are doing the afternoon commute. We're in the last day of July. It's going to literally get multiple degrees hotter as I get closer to home. So we're going to see how this goes. Yep, yes we are. All right, perfection. Why perfection? Because perfection, is a dangerous, dangerous trap that calls to us and says, hey, you do me perfect and everything in life will be perfect. That this perfection thing is there to be attained, to be realized, is the thing to strive for, is the thing that will make everything in life perfect, which is bald-faced lies. Lies, I tell you. That's not how it works. Perfection has a rather horrible tendency to stall us out, to make us feel even worse, to make us feel really bad about ourselves. It's a death trap. But what if we were to change our perspective on what perfection means? Could we then engage with it in a way where it's like, yeah, I'm perfect. Perfect just the way you are. There's some song, perfect just the way you are. I feel like it's probably some 80s crooning type song. Or I'm just completely misremembering, but does not matter. So with perfection, when we strive for it, we get very fixated on the end goal. We need to be there. There is less of a recognition of not just the importance, but the powerful role that the journey itself plays in having us arrive. We cannot arrive at a destination that we have not journeyed to. As fun and amusing as it is to get into the whole, not actually fun and amusing, but some days desperate desire to be able to be like, beam me up, Scotty, like now, because then I could be at home and we could actually do some sound quality on these recordings and I wouldn't bake alive while we do it, and you could probably see my eyes because I wouldn't have to be like, oh my god, there's sun out here and I can't see where I'm driving if I don't have sunglasses on. Yeah. So, instantaneous has a lot of appeal. It has a lot of appeal, especially within the Western magical tradition, is so largely based on how can I cast a spell so that I can get what I want pretty near as instantaneously as possible with the least amount of effort possible. There is a whole arena of concept devoted to this idea. I'll just cough while the big loud car drives by. Don't you wish I edited these? Don't you wish I had time? Don't you wish I had the money to have them edited? So you wouldn't have had to listen to that. But we are where we are, when we are, and with the resources we have. Driving with my starlings. Okay. Where was I? Something about perfection. Oh, the journey. Yes. As I journey between work and home, and it can feel like such a drudgery and, waste of time, which is, of course, why I'm recording this way, is to sneak some of that time back into where I want it to be, which is engaging with you. Excuse the coughing, so sorry. Okay. So when we strive for perfection, we forget to actually pay attention to the journey and noticing the journey. How am I doing this? Is this the am I getting any better at it? Have I acquired any skill? If you want to be a great guitar player, a harpist, or linguist, you need to practice. You need to practice daily. You need to ideally record what you're doing and then analyze it, reflect on it, go through that entire cycle so that you can actually see and assess where you are at very directly, in as close to the moment as you can actually get, and give yourself some actual feedback so that you can change what you're doing and that you can improve upon it. Truly sorry for all the coughing. I'm going to totally blame allergies. Something this week's really setting me off, and despite the fact I'm taking daily medication, it is breaking through hard as soon as I go outside. Whew, okay. I can breathe. I can talk. Can I talk without breathing? I feel like I could. I feel like my talking skills are so mad that I could talk without breathing. Okay. So, we've been slightly, at least mildly, establishing that the journey is very important. I mean, this for me came also from the Pilates side of my world. And if you're like, what, Pilates? Haven't mentioned? Yep, I do Pilates. And I've even done a few videos. Those are done when I'm at home, so time is even harder to come by. Obviously, I don't do Pilates while I'm driving. That is a step too far for me. That is a line too far. I do not do Pilates while driving. I mean, I could do some, but it would be very limited and not so helpful for you. But I do it. The channel's called Abysmal Pilates because I am rather thematic, being the Abysmal Witch. Anywho, neither here nor there. So in Pilates, well, actually it is there, very much pulling people back to focus on the journey, because what would happen is people get it in their head, oh, I need to be able to touch my toes, as an example. Sure, you can flop over, overextend the lower spine, cause some nice back problems, not get into any of the actual tense spots. That's not overly useful. I don't care if you touch your toes. What I care about is how you reach down in the directionality of your toes. What muscles are you engaging? Where are your bones placed in relationship to each other? Can we do this in a really healthy manner that is pulling upon or activating the muscles we want to have activated? Are we doing it in such a way that we are inviting elongation through the chronically short and tight hamstring muscles in most people? I have done it like the simple forward bend with that very conscious, very directed, specific focus with someone who is hypermobile. Like, I meant it in a loving way. It was Gumby. Like, body could go literally anywhere. But when I restrained back to specific limitations of bone in relation to bone, and he did it, what happened was that he went from, sure, I can place my palms on the ground, to fingertips inches above his toes, because the way that he was getting there was a very floppy, a very floppy and unhealthy way, realistically, to get there. So putting the constraints into the movement meant that he was actually getting, instead of, driving half on the curb, half on the sidewalk, maybe in the laneway, like whichever way is going to get you there the fastest, it was like, no, you're going to stick to this one lane this way, and you're not necessarily going to get there faster. You're probably going to potentially get there slow there, because, if you can't take the path of literal least resistance in any moment, but have to stick to the legal ones, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But you're going to get there without hurting anybody, yourself included. So, journey matters. Perfection invites us to skip the journey and to focus on, I need that end goal. And that end goal, we're not discovering it. When we go through the journey, we discover our end goal. We discover that destination in a hopefully rather curious state of mind, because we've been more about the journey and how we're getting there. And we may discover that the destination that we thought we were going to isn't the one that we actually want to arrive at. We may take a left turn at Albuquerque. Who knows? By focusing on the journey, those changes, adaptations, personal discoveries are all allowed to modify and influence where we are headed and what happens, the choices that we make, and without causing us anger or shame or frustration. But when we focus on perfection, we are absolutely inviting that idea of, well, I didn't get it perfectly right, so I have failed. It's like, you got it like 95% there. It's absolutely doing what it needs to do. Does that last 5% actually matter? How perfect does it need to be? For some people, that's a really high level. For some people, it's a very low level. It's the extremes that generally cause problem, either direction. But right now, we're focusing on that perfection level right at the very top. So pulling back into that again. Sorry, the problem with driving distracts me. Perfection, I also feel like perfection is an expression of fear. Maybe that's a misreading of it. I could be completely wrong. Feel free to tell me I'm off my rocker. I like rocking chairs, but I can get a little motion sick from them. It's a sad state of my situation in life when it comes to motion sickness. So I wonder sometimes if perfection arises from fear, because because fear and curiosity do not play well together. When we are curious, we're not as fearful. They can also be very close relations of each other, and we can go from curious to fear and back a little too fast sometimes for what feels comfortable. But there it is. So I do wonder if fear is one of those things that drives us into perfection. It is easier to stay in the land of like preparation. I have seen people who, I am not going to do this thing until I am perfectly ready and prepared to do it. Well, that is a great way of never arriving, or arriving so overripe at the destination that the enjoyment of the destination actually gets lost. Particularly on, what's going through my head is on magical initiations and such, where if you don't have enough preparation, the magical experience or initiation isn't going to be such a great thing, and could cause havoc afterwards because you were not properly prepared in a proper space. Like you weren't ready. There are consequences to that. When people are over ready for it, there are other consequences, and sometimes things just go very, very strange because you put magical folk into a situation where the universe, deity, whoever it is that you are working with, has an opportunity to go, great, you're finally here on my turf. You've been super slow arriving here, and so now I got some things to do in order to like move you along, because you kind of passed this moment a while ago. And that's actually the true sad part. I think that there is a lessening of the experience when people become over prepared. Like it's like fruit ripening. There's a whole big zone in the middle, from the just ripe to the very ripe, that is still all enjoyable, depends on your taste and your preferences and stuff. But there is also that was not ripe at all, and that is now starting to rot. So as much as I appreciate the death cycle, for some things we really should live on the life one, in that sense of it's time to do it. So that is an example of, on the magical side of things, where perfectionism can take us down. I mean, it applies generally in life as well. Perfectionism will hold people back, will land you into the land of stalling out on, I need to do it so correctly that it either doesn't get done or gets done so slowly that it actually impedes your work, your life, your relationships, because you are not able to function in the zone of what kind of works in the world. So that is part one. Not that we're doing part two of this. Just there are two things that I wanted to talk about with regards to perfection today. That was the first zone of talking about perfection. Now the second zone is And I'm very lucky we're stopping because I really actually want to read this quote. It's from Timothy Roderick, who wrote, I think he's a Jungian scholar, wrote Dark Moon Mysteries. And let's see if I can do this without actual glasses. Happiness is a frame of mind that you can strive toward and attain. Perfection is your natural state of being. It is where you are and how you are right now. Mad, sad, glad, afraid, or neutral. Perfection is your natural state of being. One more time, just for kicks. Perfection is your natural state of being. What if that was the perfection that we lived by? What if our natural state of being was perfect? And sometimes and it can be super easy at this point to go, well, okay, if I was perfectly resolved in all emotional issues and I had everything in my life under control, then yes, okay, it would be my natural state of being. And that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is right here, right now, who you are. As you listen to this, as you are listening to my voice, as you are seeing me and my mouth moving if you're watching this on YouTube, you are perfect right now. The you that is you is the perfect you because you are you. It accepts that this ever ephemeral experience that we are traveling through of the now, that is time now, which is the little needle head that we thread life through, that this moment that is all we have because it will pass from the future to past in a blink, that this is perfection. And we are in it perfect simply because we are. And I don't think there's much more that I can say on that. Also, I can feel the degrees climbing up while I'm driving. It's getting warm in here. So I'm just going to close it with that as an interesting perspective to invite into yourself and contemplate and to go, what if I thought that who I am right now, as I am right now, is perfect, and who I will be in 5 minutes will be perfect, who I was 5 minutes ago was perfect, just in my perfect natural state. I offer that to you. Take of it what you will. Have yourself a stay cool if you're getting hot, stay warm if you're getting cold kind of day. All of the bright and dark blessings unto you, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bless me.